In a strange twist of events, it looks like cancel culture is making an ugly comeback. And unfortunately, influencers have learned nothing about how to respond to being canceled, how to not bend the knee to the cancel mob. And in the latest example, it's Brooke Schofield. She is a co-host on the Canceled podcast.
If anything should inoculate you, it should be that.
How ironic. She hosts a podcast literally titled Canceled, and she got canceled. She was on that show with Tana Mojo up until a recent hiatus. And that was because a bunch of idiots on Twitter magically resurfaced old things that she tweeted when she was a teenager, one of which was in support of George Zimmerman.
Barely a teenager, right? You said she was like 13?
In this example, Brooke Schofield was 16.
Okay.
But as we'll talk about later, one of these influencers was only 13 at the time of her problematic comments. So here were some of Brooke Schofield's posts. One is from 2013. Guarantee if George Zimmerman shot a white guy, this wouldn't even be a story. Newsflash, this wasn't a crime of racism. It was self-defense. Another one of her tweets from 2012. What do you call a Mexican baptism? Bean dip. I'm sorry. Sure, it's edgy, whatever, it's controversial, but this is what we're trying to destroy someone's life over.
Yep.
What do you call a Mexican baptism? Bean dip. When she was 16 years old. Actually, in that one, she might have been 15 tweeting that.
Yes,
seriously.
2012.
She said the F slur for gay people in one of these. Again, early 2010s, people just said these words. It wasn't like a thing. I don't know if anyone remembers otherwise, but like that, nobody was offended by that.
It wasn't an adversarial tone.
And even if times have changed and the culture has shifted and people have evolved and grown from that time period, that doesn't mean that you need to apologize for every little offensive thing that you ever said as a child. It should go without saying that anything anyone said at the age of 13 or 15 or whatever, 16, is not something that they necessarily endorse today. Mm-hmm. That's literally what growing up is.
Their frontal lobes were the size of raisins.
And not like I even read any of these and was like shocked and offended, like, oh, how dare she say that? It literally doesn't matter. Yeah. I'm actually gonna do the meme. Why do you care about Brooke Schofield's George Zimmerman tweets from 2013 when there's a genocide going on in Gaza? Or insert whatever global tragedy you want. This is a first world problem. It's the definition of a first world problem. Jamie posted a published article on EV saying Brooke Schofield's canceling teaches us to never bend the knee to the digital Taliban. There is no amount of virtue signaling, apologies, explanations, or repentance enough for the digital Taliban. They shift the Overton window, find new things to be outraged about, all from the past. They invoke white woman crocodile tears so you can never be redeemed.
It's not just about your apology. It's that whatever you then use as your apology, they will criticize the apology itself.
Right,
and say either it wasn't said in the right tone, you didn't do it quick enough, you didn't wait long enough, like literally anything. And Mary was watching this video of this woman dissecting it, and I was just filled with an uncompromising rage.
Because she didn't take accountability the right way.
She didn't take accountability fast enough.
She didn't do it fast enough. She didn't do it in the right way. She didn't apologize to the right group of people. She didn't say the right words.
Not to mention when they're talking about this.
She didn't donate reparations.
They're calling the comments. No, these weren't the racist ones. The Alix Earle ones were the racist.
Yeah,
ones.
We'll get
there.
In these circles, rehabilitation is a privilege reserved for murderers, gang members, and drug kingpins, not 15-year-old girls with questionable tweets. Whatever you do, never bend the knee. That is so true. Yeah. Like, we're all about restorative justice and rehabilitation when it comes to someone who literally murdered people. But if you tweeted something offensive about gay people in 2011, you should just be ruined for the rest of your life. Like, you should live in a box.
Well, it probably has to do with her upbringing. How was she raised? Was she upper middle class? Was she middle class?
That was the terrible thing about Brooke Schofield's response to this, and why I don't feel bad for these women is because she came out and made a video crying to everyone, saying, like, I was raised in a conservative household, like, I didn't know better, da-da-da-da-da. I've learned since then, I've grown and I've evolved and I've become a perfect little liberal. And that is so far from the proper, correct response to being canceled. It's not even funny.
Ever notice how
it was like
also,
just groveling?
Depending on the crime, they'll give you the benefit of the doubt. They're like, well, he killed someone in a gas station robbery. Well, he was raised in a low income household. He didn't have a choice, right? They did this, they did that, and they'll make excuses till the end of time.
It doesn't translate.
No,
when
it doesn't.
Comes to
it never translates.
White women's racist tweets, right? It doesn't work the same way.
Here's the thing. It shouldn't need to go to that anyways. She was a child.
What you should say is,
she was a kid. That was stupid to say, and then move on.
Yeah. Or laugh. Here's my favorite phrase right now. My favorite mantra right now is, I found it funny, you found it racist, and that's why I'm happier than you.
Yeah. Yep. I love that quote.
Words to live by, okay? Especially in a moment like this.
Apologizing is never the smart play. It will never be enough. And I asked Mary, like, it was not supposed to be like a rhetorical question. I said, can you think of a single example where somebody asked for forgiveness and was legitimately given grace and forgiveness and just went on about their life? I can't think of any.
The one person I thought of was PewDiePie, but when I thought about it a little harder, his audience wouldn't have really demanded an apology from him in the first place for saying the N-word in, what was that, 2017?
I wanted to
they never really cared in the first place. So
I wanted to make I was going to tweet this weekend, is like, you know, all of the hate for Indians that's going around on Twitter. I said, you know who's alt accounting these, right? And it was going to be PewDiePie with the congratulations cake.
Yep. Iconic. He was so before his time. But yeah, Brooke Schofield gets an F as far as how to respond to a situation like this.
I mean, is it partially like once you go mainstream and once you have brand deals like this from somebody other than Patriot Dirt, like you're beholden to the mob.
Yeah, and then her co-host Tana Mojo, who has her own extremely, extremely problematic past and present, hence the reason for the podcast being named Canceled. She's the one who kicked her co-host off the show for being canceled.
Like, there's literally nothing more pathetic than having a podcast that plays on the term canceled and then firing a co-host for saying edgy things when they were... Like, it's the most... of all the things, it's the most low-stakes thing that you could have... Like, you could have used this to benefit your show. Like this is not high stakes. Yeah. It's not even racist things that she said as an adult. It's racist things she said as a kid. This is the perfect storm of press for you to be like, oh, well, you know, I'm not going to back down. Like, look at the name of my podcast.
Right.
Are you kidding me?
Instead, she took it as an opportunity to throw her co-host under the bus.
Pathetic.
Which is absolutely pathetic. And it's just very hypocritical because Tana herself is literally on video, also as a child, mind you, saying the hard R N-word in an insulting, derogatory way to a black person. So she just has no room to talk about that type of thing. But aside from any of that...
So what is it? So she had a bunch of messages that came out from, what was it?
So the other influencer involved in this pattern here is a TikToker named Alix Earle. It's spelled A-L-I-X.
That alone made me want to vomit.
Yeah, you already know what to think of this person. But Alix Earle hosts the Hot Mess podcast. She's so messy. She's so crazy.
I do my podcast in pajamas.
She's so unpredictable.
I am just so different. I'm not like most girls.
I'm ethically irreproachable, but I run a podcast called Hot Mess. So I'm messy. I'm real. No, I don't buy it for a second. This one, Alix Earle apologizes for resurfaced Ask FM posts using racial slurs.
When she was 13.
13 years old.
So the first example was Brooke Schofield at 16. Yeah. Still a child. Give them grace. They were a teenager. Teenagers go through edgy phases.
Right.
Okay.
Exactly.
13, They're barely.
You're barely even sentient.
You're barely even.
You're just not even.
You're a glob of skin
clump
at that point. You're a clump of cells, basically. Like you were a second away from a coat hanger ending.
I mean, seriously, yeah. So if any of you were unaware, Ask FM was this app that you use to have people anonymously send you messages or questions, sort of like Curious Cat.
I had no idea about this.
Yeah. So I am smart. I'm a smart cookie because I had an Ask FM account and I deleted it. I deleted it 2 years ago because I remembered I had an account on there. That wasn't a good look. Let me delete that. That doesn't really reflect anything I think now. So she did not learn the same lesson about, optics, digital optics, and people found these screenshots, spread them around Reddit, and it really doesn't amount to anything malicious or derogatory with her. She's just casually typing out the soft R N-word in some of these answers. There are 4 screenshots and none of them are anything insulting or using them against groups of people. Even if they were, I wouldn't care because this is a literal 13-year-old girl.
Yes.
So why would I assume she stands by anything she said at the age of what, like 25 now? Why would I assume that? That's insane. So she has tried to dodge it for a while. In fact, her first strategy with this was to trademark the screenshots so that people couldn't post them. This is so low IQ. This is so low IQ. The proper response to being canceled is ignoring it or laughing at it. You can't go with anything else because you're just going to get torn to shreds. So since then, she backed down, she bent the knee as well, and she issued an apology on her Instagram stories, saying, a couple of weeks ago, screenshots surfaced from my old Ask FM account showing me using a slur in the summer of 2014. I am taking accountability and want to make it clear that I was 13 years old and did not understand the deeply offensive meaning behind that word. That is no excuse for using that word in any context or at any age. That absolutely is not the way I speak or what I stand for. I'm deeply sorry that my words have hurt many and have led people to believe that I have prejudice in my heart. I promise you that could not be further from the truth. My platform has always focused on positivity, entertainment, and uplifting others, and will continue to do so. I am sincerely sorry to those I have offended.
It's like I was reading this thread today about Jeff Dunham, the guy who had the Ahmed, the dead terrorist puppet from like the early 2010s.
I don't remember that.
And there was this guy in the comments who said like a friend of mine, like a kid I used to know, showed me a video of this at his house when we were 14. He said it was the funniest shit ever. I never went over to his house again. Oh. And everyone's like, and then everybody clapped, right?
Yeah, when you took your big stand.
And basically somebody's, they'd be like, well, he was 14. Like even if the joke here is that even if the truth here is that you find it offensive, which I don't, like there's like, he was 14, you were 14, so what? He's a kid.
Again, like you're barely.
If I was to believe that you were if that even happened at all.
Here's another thing. If either of these women were 23 instead of 13 in the time frame that they tweeted these things, who cares? Genuine question. Who cares? Why does it matter?
Actually ask him this.
I can listen to your podcast knowing that you're possibly a terrible person, and I don't. It does not lose me a wink of sleep.
Look,
you don't matter to me.
Your generation wants student loan debt forgiveness because you claim that you don't know the meaning of your actions at 18. So you should have infinite forgiveness for 13-year-olds.
You would think so. I saw someone tweet like, Angelina Jolie was only 28 when she married Brad Pitt.
Only 28?
Like, come on now. Come on now. But when you're speaking that way about a 13-year-old or whatever, an actual kid,
then no forgiveness.
Of course.
No nothing.
Like, this person does not, like, it should be automatically assumed that you don't endorse everything you did or said at 13.
It's become like a weird a la carte menu where when you want to hold somebody accountable for everything they've ever done, they can do that. Mm-hmm. Or when they want to claim that, she was only 29, you sick fuck. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's this like nobody has any accountability for anything anymore.
You and the word, as we were talking about earlier, the word accountability has been so abused that it literally means groveling and lashing yourself
and beg
to
for
people who don't want your redemption anyway. But
actual accountability would be learning from your mistake and not doing it again. So by virtue of the fact that there are no more N-word tweets from the age of 13 onward, she took accountability for her actions and she learned from her mistakes. Kick rocks with your fake desire for forgiveness.
Yeah, I don't even.
You don't actually want to forgive her.
This was a mistake in the first place. It's not. It's not. It's a joke. It's a joke tweet. I don't care.
Yep.
And I'm so tired of people in current year, in 2024, being preoccupied with things like this. I just saw a screenshot that Troye Sivan posted of his text messages with Charlie XCX, where she asked him for permission to say the F slur, the bundle of sticks word, because he's gay, and she needs his permission to say that word, and she got it from him. These people are in their 30s. Have we not grown past this by now? Like, have we really not progressed since 2015 to 2019 cancel culture? Have we not grown at all?
Apparently not. Somebody asks a very philosophical question. Who gave you permission to give permission? Well, who gave you permission to not give permission? I ask.
Here's the thing. We can all use words. It just doesn't have any inherent moral weight. If you're in the middle of an abandoned, desert and you scream the N-word, nothing happens. No one gets hurt from it.
I mean, the NSA probably captured it on,
The Area 51 probably caught up on your signal. But really though, we've got to move past this. And people who get canceled,
it's because of the internet.
They need to learn better, because this is just pathetic. I don't even feel bad for them when they act like this, when they grovel and they bend the knee and they ask for forgiveness from people who are just so ruthless. I don't feel bad for them anymore. They don't deserve redemption if they're this pathetic and mindless.
Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.